Hi everyone. Are you listen to me okay? Everyone? Okay, perfect. So I will start directly when the video is going to start. Okay. The volume. Okay, perfect. So hi everyone, I'm really pleased to be here today. It's really great because it's our first time in PyratzLabs. Really happy because we just signed yesterday our partnership for our leverage fund. And I'm really happy because it's been a long time now that we are working with my team. We are Virstate.io. I'm going to present myself. I'm a young guy, so I'm 25 today. It's been like 10 years I'm working in the game industry and also in the tech, because I'm an hacker, guys. Like, I like to develop things since I was young. And the big story that I like to tell is that my co-founder, I met him in Minecraft like 10 years ago. When I was playing with him, I was hacking him. He was chilling in his game, and I hacked him, and we became the best friends. Hi, Madi. And when I met him, we decided to create one of the biggest projects in my life. It was my Minecraft server with Madi. We bring like 1 million players and 200 people working with us. Like for 10 years, it's been like one of the biggest projects, and it's like kind of the metaverse. Because when you have a Minecraft server, it's like the metaverse. Minecraft servers are like the same community that you have in the metaverse. You need to animate them. You need to put all the energy and all the people, the staff that you have. You have developer, you have a creator, you have builder. It's the same as the example that you see here in the sandbox metaverse. But the fact that we passed like 10 years in Minecraft creating things for our community, have earned the experience of creating things in the metaverse. And so this is why today we created Virstate. It's been like now 1 year that the company has been built. And what is the problem that we faced before creating Virstate is what is missing today in the metaverse. Maybe you know Minecraft, maybe you know Roblox, maybe you know also all the UGC game, like Valheim and all these gamers niche game. And all of these games have the same things. They are UGC based. And UGC based means that there was a lot of content. What is different than every games inside the metaverse, that every people in the games like Minecraft, Roblox are creating content for free. They are not going to be paid. If you want to search a Minecraft Mario Kart mod, you can search it today in Google. You can find it. You can play a Mario Kart games in Minecraft in 2 minutes. And why it's easy? It's because everyone in the Minecraft community space has created a lot of things. And this is the pain of the metaverse today. There is no content for the moment, not much content. There is some content that has been built, and this is why we created Virstate. With this experience in Minecraft, we have reached like 1,000 to 2,000 builder community. They have developer, they have modder, we have builder that can build the world that you can see right there. It's like a designer in Photoshop, but it's more about creating games and design in the metaverse. And what we have done that is really impressive today is that we created a technology. What is really important with this technology, we help our community of creators to build faster, more easy, more detailed. And what is missing also in the metaverse is really gamification. Every metaverse today that you know is no-code system. You need to build it by a no-code system. And what we have faced at the beginning is that it's not going to be a funny game if you build a no-code system game. Today, if you want to go in the metaverse, you will just have a quest. You play to the quest, and at the end, you have the reward that you want. But if you want to create a Fortnite-like Minecraft, you can have a battle royale games like the Fortnite system that is really famous, and there is a lot of players into it. You need to code, and this is what we have done with Virstate.io today. We have created a middleware. So Virstate is the middleware of the metaverse. We have 3 things: builder community, to 1,000 to 2,000 people that we can reach to this community. creator. We have the tooling. We created multiple tools that maybe you can see here. It's in the Sandbox Metaverse, but you cannot film like that. We created this cinematic software that today is used by the Sandbox team internally. And this software is created by reverse engineering. This is our secret. We reverse engineering every game, every metaverse. And with this power of reverse engineering, you can push the boundaries of the metaverse. At this point, you can create multiple things that is really incredible. And at the end, you can feel many content in the metaverse. And the fact that you have all these two features, the builders and the tools, you need to sell them. And this is why we have the third part of our middleware, which is the marketplace. When you are going to use our tools, the creators are going to be able to put it on our marketplace and sell it. So basically, tomorrow, Virstate is going to have a marketplace that you will be able, tomorrow, if you want to buy a villa, today, you cannot do it in the sandbox. You want to buy a game. Imagine you want to create your own community, to have your own games like we did with Mandy in Minecraft 10 years before. You cannot do it. And this is why we created this middleware that will be able to everyone, if you want tomorrow to create any experience that you want, you can buy it and put it in your experience. And that's why it's really important to understand that the technology is really important, and with this technology you can help every creator to build incredible experiences. The fact that in the metaverse today you have multiple things like Sandbox, Decentraland, Overside that is coming, and Spatial, maybe the most famous metaverse that we know today. When you want to play around today, there is the problem that every experiences have a lifetime. So actually, if you want to maintain a community, you need to have gamification into it. So this is why Virstate community of builder can create multiple experiences that will have a long time life. Like every day, if you want to animate your community, you can go and ask to a builder to create a specific mode, like imagine you want to sell content in the metaverse, you will be able to do it, because with this technology that we have created, you will be able to code it and put it in your experience. That's the secret of the technology of the reverse engineering. And the idea that we have, that we want to push at the end, is to explain to everyone that the metaverse is not just a place that you are going to chill. Maybe today everyone is just going to the metaverse and having an avatar and just walk. They are just going to do some quest, to do some chilling, chatting with everyone. But if you take some games that is really famous, like Roblox, people cannot stop to play. They want to replay every time. It's the game loop. And the game loop is impossible with the technology. And this is why our builder technology is going to be able to create engaging experiences in the metaverse. So basically, tomorrow, everyone will be able to buy any experience from any creator from the world, but with a unique technology if he's a Virstate creator. To finish, Virstate today has created multiple experiences in the metaverse to begin and to try these tools. We have created all the villa and the penthouse for Exclusible. Maybe you know them. You know Every Realm. We created the Fantasy Island. Every Realm is a big company of Web3 metaverses experiences. And we created 100 Fantasy Island that is available today in the metaverse. So they can have their own land in the metaverse with their experience. That is not possible today. If tomorrow you want to have an experience in the metaverse, you need to call an agency. Hi, can I have an experience? And how much it costs? It costs between 50K to 500K. It can depend on the cost. And for us, this is the problem that we faced at the beginning. And tomorrow, you will just have to go to the marketplace, switch the experience that you want to plug, and you can go on it and buy it. But Yeah, of course, today there is no gamification. And this is why we put in creating new experiences that is IP that we created. I cannot talk of them now, but we created like the first battle royale on Sandbox by reverse engineering the game. And so tomorrow, this is gonna be the first game that you can replay every time in the Sandbox. And that's gonna be a unique and a revolution into the metaverse. Because today, if you go in an experience in the metaverse, you will just stay a moment, but will not want to go again. And so this is Virstate. I'm happy to share to you this project. And thanks a lot for Pirates to let us present the project.
Yes, thank you for having us here. It's great to be here in Paris. It's definitely the center of Europe as far as Web3 is concerned. Has been proven over the last 24, 48 hours. So it's a privilege to be in. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So quick introduction. My name is Richard. I've been in the fashion industry for a long, long time, but I've always been interested in technology and how it could be applied. And I started BNV, Brand New Vision, in 2016, originally to explore how technology could be applied into the traditional fashion industry, supply chain, product development, logistics, distribution, etc. Two things that really stood out in that process was 3D product creation, which had evolved dramatically in recent years, that you could create things which looked incredibly realistic, and that was mostly coming out of the gaming world. Second element was blockchain, which we originally looked at in regards to provenance and proof of the supply chain side of things. When I came across the idea of smart contracts in 2017, early 2018, that was the alarm bell that rang to say this could actually completely change the way the fashion industry works. So in 2019, we stopped trying to worry about making real product and we went completely virtual. So we were focusing on making digital products, tokenizing them, launching them by working with brands and designers that were already in the real world but needed to make this transition into what eventually became the metaverse and Web3. So if you could start that one now, Paya. Excuse me. So we started we launched our marketplace in 2021. This is some shots of products and things that we've created over that period. We're using a combination of things, CLO, Marvelous Designer, Blender, obviously, and into Unreal Engine and using MetaHumans and Character Creator. Various activations that we've done to demonstrate that, using, in here you can see a Clone X, which belongs to one of our friends. This is a project we did with Dazed, which featured a photo shoot from Rihanna, which we recreated. This is where we're introducing art into fashion and bringing a number of artists through what we're calling a booty, which has its own smoke machine, because everybody needs a smoke machine in the metaverse. This, again, is to showcase how this was done a year and a half ago to demonstrate how fashion could eventually move into a gaming environment while still showing the attention to detail and the integrity of the product, the fidelity of the product, which, as we all know, is a very difficult thing to replicate in a active real-time rendering situation. Excuse me. So what we've been focusing, this is a builders gathering, so I wanted to introduce what we've been working on from build perspective. And that is, how can we take fashion into the metaverse and give it true utility? And fashion having utility means being able to wear it. So our mission is to bring these brands in, tokenize the product, and make multiple versions of those items of clothing that can be then worn across various metaverse experiences. Firstly through wallet linking and eventually through token linking. So we internally in-house, as well as building these animations and representations of product, including our community tokens, which you're seeing here, which we're calling the G2s, which is based around a gaming headset. And we build this in partnership with various communities, including NFT Factory, which we dropped 2 weeks ago to all of the founding members. But this is what we're working on currently, and we'll be able to demonstrate that within the next 4 to 6 weeks is our metaverse experience. The brief with this is to make it both mobile and browser friendly. whilst retaining the fidelity and the attention to detail that's the people in the fashion industry, both the brands, the designers, and the consumers, or the participants, will want to see. Key part of this is a 15-slot avatar system, where you can actually change each of the parts of that within those 15 slots, and using the mechanics of gaming, interact with both the environment and other people within that space. So proximity, collision, voice input, camera input can all go into creating user-generated content, including PFP integration, and into our social feed. So these are how we are focusing on creating the ability for token owners, who are the lifeblood of Web3, and giving them the opportunity to both be creative and stylish, both with their identity and with the ability to interact with each other as avatars, with the environment that's interactive as well, using the mechanics of gaming to make user-generated content, which can then be shared. This is going to be underpinned by our Fash coin. And the idea with the Fash coin, it's the currency that will fuel the economy of fashion within the metaverse and Web3. And the idea with this is that we want to actually encourage the concept of tipping to replace liking. As I think that's one area where it's great if you're an influencer, whether it's on Instagram or wherever, and you get a like, because if you get a lot of likes, you get a nice little buzz, and maybe you get enough buzzes that you actually become an influencer and get free stuff. But the reality is everybody can be an influencer and be rewarded for their creativity through a social feed generated through our interactive elements within our world. So as I said, that's our building. Oh, if we jump back. This is some projects we did recently for the CFDA 60th anniversary, where we worked with Tommy Hilfiger, Coach, Diane von Furstenberg, a number of other brands, and we sold these tokens as one-of-ones between 15 and 25,000 US dollars, with various levels of real-world utility as well as digital versions. So that's what we are building. That's what we have built. We have other things in the pipeline, which I can't even talk about today, but our mission is to bring a large swathe of people into the metaverse and Web3 through the medium of fashion in a way that encourages creativity and style. And that's it for now. Thank you.
So just to go through a few things, I thought I'd give you a few minutes of just brief overview on kind of some of the things that we're seeing in the market. This is, the first few slides are put together by my colleague on our digital asset team, who provides a really good overview, just I think to put into perspective kind of how we're feeling in the Web3 world, but for metrics, because you know we love numbers. So obviously 2022 was an eventful year in the world of Web3, particularly in financial Web3, in the crypto side of things. So obviously big events that everybody knows about. But I think one thing to look at is, as my colleague likes to say, we've been here before. And lots of people say, oh yeah, I remember the bear market and I've been here for a couple of cycles. Well, there have been 8, if for those of you counting. And the important thing is if you focus on the trend line, because the trend line goes up and it continues to go up over time. So yes, there is a tremendous amount of volatility, but the recovery is always a little bit higher. And then the peak is a little bit higher. So the market continues to increase. And this is just measuring on-chain data. So that's not, you know, all of the great content and all of the intangible, you know, IP that we're creating in this industry. This is just on-chain data of token value. Then when we look at things like crypto market cap, you know, again, volatility, everything's pointing in the right direction. Crypto as an asset class outperforms. Little bit of red in the last year, but frankly, again, not so bad, to be honest. As lots of people like to say, it depends on the price that you come in, where you end up. And then on-chain activity, and this is the most important one. This is how many people are on-chain building stuff, because that's ultimately the measure of value and utility that is created in the industry, right? The more people that are building stuff, whether it's financial applications, content applications, education, you name it, That's utility. And that creates a rich and robust ecosystem, token asset value, all good stuff. So on-chain activity is at an all-time high. And I think that's the one thing that I always say to people who are outside of this industry when they ask me, oh, well, how are things going, FTX and et cetera, et cetera. And I say to them, well, one of the things that I really observed over the last year or so is an amazing exodus of talent from non-Web3 industries into Web3. And while it's easy enough if you manage, venture capital or something like that to make investments in a new sector, choosing to change your career and your livelihood to something completely new is a really big decision. I would argue much bigger than investing somebody else's money, to be honest. And to see people make that decision and vote with their feet to pursue their passion because they see an opportunity in a new industry, to me, that's very exciting. And the quality and caliber of people that I saw doing that over the last 18 months says to me that Web3 is for sure here to stay, but also going to get much more exciting over the next couple of years when we see all the wonderful things that these people are building. A quick plug for our little in-house experiment, the Mocaverse. We're trying to create a community. We've been working a lot on community, both within our own studios, as well as our customers, our shareholders, investors, investee companies, anybody who has some kind of relationship with us. We thought, why not, kind of live and breathe the products that we create and create our own community in a tokenized, NFT-enabled way, just to represent how we all share and contribute to growing our respective ecosystems. So we've created the Mocaverse, which we have launched recently, and again, it's about the whole ecosystem. We have individual characters you can create, and we have different content categories in which we want to help people to connect and to work together and cooperate and learn and share around different types of content, whether it's learning, doing good, building, and playing, because we do a lot of playing. Obviously, we make a lot of games. And so we wanted to organize people to have activities around those areas. And then we've had a reasonable amount of traction, thankfully. I think the best sign is that there have been rug pulls trying to mimic our project already, even though this is just an in-house project to build community. So that's always the sincerest form of flattery when people try to scam people using our IP. And so, yeah, we're very pleased with that so far, and please, hopefully everybody's joining. And lastly, I put this up because I think this is important. So the mint date was, 2 days ago, and we didn't do it. And so why didn't we do it? Because of marketplace, let's call it drama this week. And so this is an issue I think that's quite important to us, right? And for those of you who can't read, it says the problem with the race to the bottom is that you might win. And of course, I'm talking about OpenSea and Blur. And so I think, the reaction from the creator community was very, very swift. What's going on? This is crazy. This makes no sense. And for marketplaces to try to essentially compete with each other on price at the expense of the people who are actually supplying them with the products, frankly, feels a lot like Amazon, right? And so we think a lot about creators, and this is just a snippet from Union Square Ventures. I think, the idea behind creator royalties is fundamental to Web3. We have creator royalties across all different kinds of content categories. Specifically well-known, obviously, are things like music, right? We've had music rights, copyright licensing systems for decades, since the 1950s. And it has enabled those industries to thrive because creators have some type of income stream beyond the life of that just initial time of the creation, right? There's an ongoing royalty stream. And that doesn't mean that they benefit disproportionately from their creation. It just means they have a different business model, which allows them to have a long tail of revenue. And this is something that's really attractive to creators in Web3, in our opinion. And that's why Web3 fundamentally changes the idea of the creator economy when all creators can be rewarded more fairly. And so when we see what's going on in this kind of marketplace war of attrition to the bottom on fees, it feels patently unfair and kind of misses the point of what the promise of Web3 was. And so we've tried to come up with a solution to this, and it's very much a work in progress. First, just to give you a little bit of an idea, I tried to look up numbers on royalties. This is the best I could come up with. But essentially, if you look at the royalties paid last year, and this is a rough estimate, all royalties paid across NFT marketplaces was about 1.8 billion US dollars. All the royalties paid on Facebook and Instagram combined is about $1 billion. And then TikTok and Patreon are roughly 330 million. So if you add those up, then obviously NFT royalties are bigger than pretty much all of Web2 creator royalties combined. I mean, obviously this doesn't include YouTube. I didn't have YouTube numbers or Spotify numbers, but nobody gets paid on Spotify anyway. So I think this part is really important. And so we had a suggestion, and my colleague Yat put this out on Twitter in November when this became an issue because OpenSea flirted with no royalties back in November again, right? It's like a recurring problem. And we think one of the solutions is legal remedies. So creating a license framework. So what we're proposing is to create a license framework which we will do under Creative Commons so that everybody can use it. And this will be a way for creators to license their IP to holders who buy their NFTs. And when people buy their NFTs, if those royalties are not paid, then that essentially violates the license term. And under the license agreement, then the creator can withhold the provision of utility, because that's the one thing you can do. They still may own the NFT, but you can say, look, now you're possessing my artwork, illegally because you're not paying the royalty, and I can withhold my utility. It's the best you can do, because as we've seen, you can't enforce on-chain royalties, unfortunately. But what this will do is it will provide a legal foundation for you to have recourse. And that's important, because you may not be able to claim your royalties at that time, but at least it's written out in a legal contract that you have the right to claim them. And if all of us in this room have the right to claim those royalties, but the person who violated them is the same for everybody in the room, then we have what's called a class action. And that gives us power. So I think this is one method by which we can think about creators being able to at least have a say in what happens with their creations, because I think, frankly, cutting them out to grow your own market share seems patently unfair to us. But anyway, I didn't really want to end on a sad note, because I think there's lots of excitement going on, but I'd say just a few parting thoughts, because we talked to a lot of companies in the space. I said Web3 may be a candle in a dark room, but the lights are still out. So we are by far a bright spot in tech, just generally. Businesses are still doing well. Obviously, look at all of us in the room. Like, the mood is very good in Web3, but the overall economy is still crap. So keep that in mind. It's not as good as we think it is sometimes, living in our Web3 bubble. So cash is king, and make sure you have as much runway as you possibly can, because it's going to be tough out there. Valuations are still as low as you can imagine, and then some. And the odds of being able to fundraise this year, I think, for all but the best projects is still going to be relatively slim. So the things that we were saying to people last summer still apply, and they're applying more and more and more as time goes on. So I think the rest of this year is still going to be challenging, at least until Q4, for sure. And take time to focus on building community and product, and community first, and product as part of that. And the last thing I said, and this is sort of my positive reminder, don't forget that this is Web3, so everybody is a stakeholder in your success. So if things are difficult, don't just lean on your team, don't just lean on your investors and your shareholders and ask for more money. Talk to your customers, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends who work in Web3, talk to your suppliers, etc. Everybody can help, because that's part of Web3. We all get through this together, and we can bootstrap and figure out ways to exchange content or exchange ideas or swap services or tokens or, when times are tough, you get creative. And I think that one of the benefits of Web3 is it's in our DNA to cooperate and collaborate. And so we should take advantage of that and not just lean on, oh, well, I need more cash, so I need to go back to shareholders and ask for more cash. So I would suggest to pull out your creative juices. But anyway, thank you very much for the invitation, and it's great to see so many people out on a Friday night. Thank you, Bilal, and everybody at the PyratzLabs organization, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Robby. So now it's Dogamí's turn?
Absolutely.
Oh, wait.
Let's hear it.
Do you want to ask questions to Robby? All right, let's take 2 or 3 questions. Who wants to start? Nobody wants to ask questions? 1,
Well, no, they want
2,
to hear about Dogamí.
3. Okay, they want to hear about Dogamí. So Max, please come over. You have a question, Zach.
Just wanted to have a question about what you. Just wanted to have a question about what you think about the future of metaverses. Like when you have something like Yuga Labs that is creating Overside that is based on an SDK that is really interesting because, when I was pitching, I'm thinking about the problem of every metaverse is now no coding, and the fact is that you don't have the power like Minecraft and Roblox who have an SDK that pushed every limit that you want to create. What you think in the future? Do you think it's gonna be like the big Web2 games like Roblox, or do you think it's gonna be really different? People will come in. Sometimes, like you want to go on Minecraft, you go on Minecraft. You want to go on League of Legends, you go on League of Legends. Do you think we are going to have one metaverse that is going to be the top one, or do you think you are going to have multiple metaverses with different goals? Some for the brands, some for the gamers. What do you think for that?
So my view, good question. My view on this is that I think we're going to have lots and lots of metaverses, and it's going to be really chaotic and messy. But some of them, and that's because that's how the world is, right? We have lots of countries and lots of cities, and it's messy and chaotic. And some places are for people who, love to do sports and do outdoor activities, if you've been to Australia, for example. And then other places are, ones where they only speak a certain language or share a certain interest. And I think metaverses will coalesce around communities that have specific interests. But, and I completely forgot to plug this, OMA3, the Open Metaverse Alliance. Please, everybody join. It's a nonprofit, and we have come together as a consortium of projects. And please, you need to join, okay?
Of course.
Because we need people to contribute and help. Because the reason we created OMA3 to begin with was basically a bunch of projects sitting around creating metaverses saying, how are we going to get all this shit to interoperate, Because we don't know how this is going to work. And the best way that we can figure this out is let's get everybody in the room from all the most mature projects, and we'll just figure out, how do I take an NFT from my project and bring it into yours? And if we can get 10 projects that can interoperate, and then we publicize how anybody can work with us, then hopefully there will be a snowball effect that we can start to get stuff working.
And just to add, what do you think about like the big companies like Epic Games and Blizzard? What do you think they are going to come in this Web3 space with new games that is 100% like the shame of UGC games, because they don't really created this? Fortnite is a bit like UGC, but it's not really with an economy. You see what I mean?
Sure. I think it's very difficult for them because it's not in their DNA to share. And particularly, they don't understand the idea of allowing the sharing of their customer, because they think that as soon as the customer leaves their experience, they will never return, and that it's a zero-sum game of user acquisition. So I think those experiences, at least initially that they build, my gut feel is that they will be providing utility for our NFTs, because their initial step at opening themselves to interoperability will be, yes, everybody else can come to our stuff and bring their NFTs, right? Because they don't realize that actually that's cool, because then my NFTs will have more utility because they can go over to the Fortnite world. So actually, I think it's a win-win for everybody, even though they'll view it as more of a one-way street to begin with.
Hi, Robby. Thanks for coming. I know that Animoca doesn't like to get involved into its portfolio companies' decisions, but you're a big part of, OpenSea. You're a big OpenSea investor, and obviously their move was really bad, even though it has to compete against Blur, obviously. But have you ever tried? Did Animoca try to change OpenSea minds about this decision? And second question, how do you think that this kind of move can affect the NFT, long-term market?
So I think this is a very short-term activity. I think what you'll see actually is that it's really interesting to see some of the data that's come around the trading on Blur. It actually boils down to like 300 accounts. Originally people thought 500, and then it came down to 80% of the volume on 300 accounts. So really, it's just a small group of whales who are just running a massive farming operation. And as soon as the farming finishes, then I think we'll see. But Blur does have a really nice UI. So if you're a pro trader, Blur is a nice product. And I think it's a reminder that innovation is always around the corner. I don't think that something like Blur is going to be a marketplace for NFTs of the type that we sell in games, for example. I think it's more of a pro crypto trader product, but it is a reminder that you can build an amazing product and gain tremendous market share very quickly with innovation. And actually, I think should be inspiring to people, because there's no reason you can't create the next one next week. So I think in the long term, OpenSea still has the mind share and the brand. It's kind of the Coinbase of marketplaces, if you will. It's maybe not the most exciting and innovative place, but it's got a trajectory of stability, which I think means that they have a very loyal customer base. It's the de facto place to list your NFTs, and I think that remains true.
Did you try to change their mind about, their...
Yes, of course, we make suggestions. We're very public about our stance on. We've been advocating a multi-chain ecosystem, creator royalties, and digital property rights. 5 years we've been talking ourselves blue in the face to anybody who will listen. That's where we stand, and we're very clear on that.
Thank you.
All right. Wait, it's not over. Sorry.
Maybe one more question?
Yeah, I had some question about the whole royalty stuff, this whole competition going down to zero in terms of fees and everything. Do you think on the, not necessarily near future, but like in hopefully near enough, all these like big centralized marketplaces, and that's the stuff we are trying to fight with this Web3, like everything should be decentralized. Do you think these marketplaces will still exist? And do you think that maybe projects will actually have their own internal marketplaces for their own needs? When the whole tooling, the whole ecosystem is here, because we are building protocols with Web3. The protocol should be used for every product, every project. Mm-hmm. And having these like big central places that take all the decisions that actually impact all the creators, all the product and everything like that, I don't see this as a necessarily good thing on the long term. And yeah, what's your take on that, on these big products centralized, on the whole like trading of NFT, where like all these projects try to be decentralized and try to take more control on their business model, basically?
Very good question. I think it's a very complicated problem, because it's both a market and branding dynamic, meaning you need to build mindshare and brand for users to post their NFTs and their items into a marketplace. So that's the one side. And then you have to have liquidity. And the liquidity part is probably the most important, because you only want, as a user, to participate in a marketplace where there's liquidity. Because if you put something up for sale and it doesn't sell, there's no point to the marketplace. For us, because we make a lot of games, we also think about UI, UX, because the look and feel of a marketplace is much, much better if it's in keeping with the brand of the type of product that's available there. I think we would all agree that a generic marketplace like eBay, eBay and Amazon are terrible products from a UI, UX point of view, because they've suffered from being 20 years old and largely appearing the same as they did in 1996. And so I think to the extent that we can customize and white label technology with different UI, UXs, I think that may be where the solution is medium term. we think about, games at any scale will have to have their own marketplaces, in-game marketplaces, because for the people playing that game, they'll want to trade amongst each other and have something that is the look and feel of the lore and the content of that game. But you also want to benefit from shared liquidity. So to the extent that you can have a way to have an API for cross-listing between a large catch-all marketplace as well as the individual sort of customized marketplace for that game, I think that's ultimately where the solution is, because if we have fragmentation across products, then we'll never have enough liquidity to actually generate the trading volume which makes those attractive places to sell. So it's a very complicated problem, but I do think it's going to be about that white labeling idea. And I was having a chat with a gentleman earlier who we have a very similar view on this. I think much of it is also going to be about involving the community. So I think that some of these marketplace solutions may come in the form of DAO governance, actually, where the creators who are contributing the products to those marketplaces become stakeholders in the marketplaces as well.
Last question.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Alex. I'm working on a platform called The Curator. It's kind of Pinterest for Web3. So thanks very much for the presentation. It was really interesting, especially in that part with relating to royalties. My question is about your initiative around licensing that you mentioned. So I'm curious, don't you think that it's a little bit contradicting the openness of Web3 and the spirit of Web3, and how this licensing thing, or your framework basically, will be dealing with NFT aggregators?
Sure. I think the idea is that all we want to do is help to contribute a legal framework to the community, and then people can choose whether to use those legal agreements or not. I think, for example, with the SAFT and the SAFE agreements that were done by Y Combinator, I can't imagine how much in legal fees have been saved over the years because those were open source to the community. I mean, we use them, everybody uses them, right? And so we thought that this might be a way for us to contribute to the community in providing at least some legal structure that we're using ourselves, because the reality is we just want to try to help people provide recourse to acknowledge the fact that they are owed these royalties for the work that they created, and that there has been an injustice done if those royalties are denied. It's an imperfect solution. We had hoped that there would be more perfect technical solutions through smart contracts and these kind of things, but clearly when a new marketplace comes up designed around actually circumventing this as the USP of the marketplace, we know that there's not a technical solution, because really it's only one hack away from somebody else, solving your next technical triumph. So I think we just wanted to try to find a way for creators to be able to set those royalty parameters themselves, because I think creators should have the freedom to outline that. Whether they want those to be unreasonable or fair is up to the creator. And we always had the feeling that the marketplace would respond to that and place a value judgment on it. If you're a creator and you want 100% royalty on every secondary transaction, maybe people won't trade them very often, right? But that's up to you, because it's your creation. And people should be free to do that as they like. We just wanted to provide some legal framework to hopefully enable people to push their products forward and have some of that protection, even if they don't have the benefit of a legal team.
Hello, everyone. My name is Max Stöckl, born and raised in Austria, but I live here in Paris. Thanks everyone for coming and for the turnout. And excuse my voice, it's a bit scratchy today, but yeah, that's all right. So I think when you start a conversation with a founder, there's always two sort of questions that you should ask, like, what did you get here? Like, why are you here? And the second one is like, what keeps you going? So what did get me? So basically Bilal. So I studied with Bilal together in business school, and we kept in touch. And sort of 1.5 years ago, we talked again, and he's like, yeah. So I have this idea with another guy who just sold his company, and we want to do something with NFT and dogs, which sounds a bit weird. So I was like, maybe I should rethink this a bit. But then I was like, I looked at the value proposition of sort of crypto and NFTs and gaming a bit more. So I was already in the gaming space, but it was, I was already in the crypto space, so I had some NFTs and I had some crypto. But I was like thinking, like I was a huge gamer, so I played 20,000 hours in my life, probably of Counter-Strike and Guild Wars and World of Warcraft. And when you play these games, you know that there's massive gray markets in games, so people really spend money on in-game assets, which is quite obvious. But the problem is always that with your in-game assets, you're constrained to sort of those environments, so you can't really do anything with it once you decide to stop. So this sort of really got me into this space because I felt it was like a technological revolution for gaming. And that's how we sort of built Dogamí. And now to what keeps me going. I think for the first time in history now with NFTs, we have the opportunity to really bind people to your company with NFTs, for example. In our case, it's stocks, we're gonna show it later. But you can really build an amazing connection, like a digital connection with your users. And then obviously you can also like incentivize people greatly from the very beginning to engage with you, to share your stuff, and everyone participates. I mean, Robby has mentioned it earlier, and I think that's just incredible what you can do these days. So what's Dogamí concretely? So our baseline is your true virtual companion. So it's basically one of these dogs that live on blockchain. They can be used in different applications. So for one, in our own applications, but then they can also be used in different metaverses. And they become your avatars in sort of the metaverse. So you can equip them with different accessories, and they just, for example, can follow you around, etc., or you can just play with them. And what you can also do with these dogs is, or will be able to do, is to breed. So when you have two dogs, you can breed like a third dog, and you can train that one. And it's just a really compelling sort of global game loop or entertainment loop that people love in the space. So for those of you who are familiar with CryptoKitties, yeah, you know the game. Who in this room doesn't have an NFT? All right, so everyone else has an NFT. Amazing, cool. All right, and so the second pillar, what Dogamí is, it's basically a Web3 media franchise. What's a media franchise? It's basically, you have one core IP, and then you have like movies, TV shows, comics, etc. around it. So you really build like multi-products out of one core IP. And this is what we're also pushing. And I'm going to show you one of our videos, so you get a feeling for that. Is it this one? So you have to understand, this is not a normal dog, but these are Dogamí. So basically have special abilities and skills. And they come to Earth with the purpose of finding a human. And when you see that, like it's very much Disney-ish in a way, but it still has this sort of own NFT look. And all in all, I think it has a great potential. Here. Check. All right, yeah, so we existed now for 15 months. We raised more than 10 million euros from different investors like Animoca Brands, Ubisoft, some other big names. Most recently, we closed a round with Exchange, as a French-German VC fund, and also got funded by the French Public Investment Bank, BPI. So I think we're definitely some of the more serious projects in the space, or legitimate in the sense that we are like try to be very official, because we always had sort of the ambition to be mass market, and I think with what we sort of building, we do have the potential. So what you see here is the first screenshots from Doga House. It's a bit like a Tamagotchi right now, so we have these dogs that you can interact with. Right now we have 50% of our NFT holders onboarded to that app, which equates to like 3,000 people. Doesn't sound much in the traditional gaming world, but for blockchain gaming it's actually quite substantial. And what you see here, we also did a partnership with Gap, the clothing brand. So basically can have like different clothing pieces for the dogs, and we're gonna sort of build on that going forward. So as I said, it really becomes a avatar that you can customize. And yeah, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, the ambition is really to build an entertainment 3.0 brand that can expand into multiple extensions. So what we sort of aspire to build is a whole ecosystem that always has at its core the virtual companion, so the NFT. And with that NFT, so you have one dog, you can access games, you can read comic books, you can maybe watch a TV show, you get access to exclusive toys, and lastly, maybe even access to music. And lastly, given that it's an NFT, so with the unique features of NFTs, it's also interoperable. And we have a partnership with Sandbox, where I'm also going to show you a video. So I'm going to quickly show you what we're building here. Excuse me. So I'm going to deep dive into these three verticals. So gaming, where we built Dogamí Academy. Interoperability, where we build Dogamí portals in the comic books that are being released soon, called Companions of Earth. So for Dogamí Academy, the point is really that we build like a racing game where people can breed their dogs and sort of engage in various PvE and PvP loops. There's going to be sort of play and earn mechanisms in there, but the purpose is really that people build a special bond with their Dogamí and can also leverage the accessories they might get during the game loop, but also can they bought. And as I said, the purpose is really to sort of foster your kennel, and to build the best Dogamí possible. So here you see some of the screenshots. So it's very integrated with our lore. So you see different like universes. Here it's more like Arabia. Here it's more like a Western medieval town. And you have Atlantis on the very right. So it's very like mystical, but pretty rich. And yeah. Then the other thing that we're currently working on are the comic books. So we're working here with a US studio which have done multiple famous comics like Spider-Man here or Wolverine. And they are basically building upon a story that has been written. Is a 25-page document of the Dogamí backstory. And they're sort of developing the characters in visuals. And the plan is to release some of those comics this year, and then to actually have one sort of real physical comic book. And that's how we really want to foster fandom. So it's not just NFTs that you get in the beginning, but actually with the NFTs, you'll also get access to those comic books. And brings me back to my first point, that we really want to build something that people engage with long term. Lastly, a partnership with Sandbox. So we are basically metaverse ready. So you'll be able to take your Dogamí, get a voxelized version, and then sort of discover the land in Sandbox. And as Robby said previously, or someone else, there's a lot of metaverses which we can integrate with, and this is the plan midterm. All right, so yeah, that's it. We're really happy what we built over the last sort of 15 months, and we can't wait for this year, because a bear market is actually also an opportunity in the sense that you can really focus on building. People are a bit more patient, I would say. But yeah, so quite excited about the space, and let me know if you have any questions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna Greenfield, and I'm co-founder and CEO of the Wanderverse. A little bit about me. I am an entrepreneur, a CPA, and a true wanderer in life. My background is in, sorry, hold on. Okay. My background is in working with startups in Silicon Valley for the last decade plus, and I've been working with tech companies and cannabis companies, advising and managing finance, accounting, and business. My passion is truly pioneering new industries and building businesses to scale and empowering people and their passions. So let's get into the Wanderverse. Suit up, strap in, and soar off. Your galactic odyssey awaits. Okay. In the center of the universe exists the wormhole. On August 15th, 2021, the legendary Warp Squad 16 went missing. They were last seen investigating the wormhole. And this is the day that the Wanderers were born. And all of this is from our short film that is available on YouTube, by the way. The Wanderers are 8,888 animated NFTs with music and lore. Our founder and CEO, Nick, is a visionary artist and animator who found a strong following through education of animation. During NFT Summer, he had an idea and went and found 4 key contributors to make this come true. He found a Web3 genius, Emerald, who's here today, and I've been working with Emerald for a year and a half, and this is the first time I've seen their face and met them in person today, and it's incredible and very Web3. He also found a lore master named Rupert Froggington and a musician, Lando Soundo. All of our NFTs have generative music and lore and animation. Someone we worked with once said, if George Lucas was 20 years old and creating Star Wars right now in real time, this would be how he launched it. This truly resonated with us because we believe this is how Star Wars would be launched, and we are not just an NFT project, we're not just a metaverse, we're not just a game, we're a brand and a sci-fi franchise. And we're creating an interactive universe. To date, we've launched 3 collections. All of them have 8,888 animated with music NFTs. The first being The Wanderers, which was our OG collection, and it sold out in 30 minutes. Planet Pass was a free mint on Polygon, and everyone can now own their planets. And then the third collection that launched in Q2 2022 is the Wandernauts. And the Wandernauts are the Warp Squad 16 that went missing when they were investigating the wormhole. So, this is just a lot of things that we've done, but we combine art, storytelling, gaming, music, and entertainment in a way that engages fans and allows them to become active participants in the experience. As an example, we made 2 short films and we held casting calls for our community to audition their characters to be in the story. So imagine owning Yoda or Luke Skywalker in 1980. This is truly just the beginning. Our Wanderer fans are passionate and we have a strong community. We're constantly looking for ways to engage them and empower them, and obviously through the times in the industry it's been a little bit, ups and downs, but we always know that they are our core and we need to empower and engage with them because that is how we will make it. A few facts: over $17.5 million has been spent in the ecosystem. Over 6,200 hours of original music has been enjoyed. We have 3 full-length albums, and over 25,000 digital collectibles have been minted. 75% of our holders have held for over a year. Here's a condensed timeline, but we launched in 2021 and made revenue from digital collectibles. In Q3 2022, we raised $2 million seed round from Animoca Brands and Game5 Ventures. And since then, we've been hitting the ground running, building out our interactive platform and our blockchain game that is going to go in full launch around Q1, Q2 2024. So, as all of us, I think here believe, we are very bullish on gaming. And given where we're at and the cycles we've been through in the NFT, market since 2021, our main focus right now is to build a strong business that's going to last for years and build out recurring revenue streams. Because of that, we are extremely bullish on gaming and we are focusing a lot of efforts on that. Here's a few facts about the gaming market. I don't need to get too much into it, but it's in the hundreds of billions and it's expected to grow immensely. And we truly believe that Web3 brands and digital ownership is going to be the next era of gaming entertainment, and it's very untapped, and that is what we are all working towards. So, here's a little bit of alpha. It's a very early stage prototype, but in 2024, you will be able to venture into the wormhole in our multiplayer roguelike dungeon crawler. I'm not a gamer myself, so I'm just admitting that, it's a roguelike dungeon crawler where you can hack and slash your way through the Wanderverse in search of the missing Warp Squad 16. We're really excited about how well the game is moving, and because we have come from already having the story and the lore and the characters, it's moving very quickly and smoothly, and we're very happy to be working with Blowfish Studios on it. Also, given that the Web3 gaming infrastructure is still in the early days and we have time, we first and foremost want to focus on making this game fun. And we're going to continue navigating all the trends in Web3 gaming infrastructure and making sure that anyone can venture into the wormhole, whether they're Web3 native or not. And we have an extremely great core team of about 10 creators, developers, and operators. Obviously, we're going to continue expanding, but we truly believe in partnering with really strong partners so we're able to deliver the highest quality products And here's a few partners that we work with that we're super grateful for. And we're all in this together, so we all need to rely on each other's expertises and really do this together to make it work. And we really are looking forward to working with anyone and everyone that can help us do that. And that is all. I truly appreciate everyone's time, and a huge thank you to PyratzLabs and Animoca Brands for creating this platform and hosting this event. We wouldn't be here without you guys, and yeah, happy to answer any questions.
So, who wants to wander?
I always want to watch this. So.
No one? Come on. You're wandering.
Where can I get one of the NFTs? A Wanderer.
Where can you get one?
Yes, and for what price?
One place?
What price at the moment?
Oh, what is the price of the NFTs? They are very affordable right now. Very affordable, and hopefully you are bullish on us because we believe we can make it to be the next Star Wars. So get in while it's cheap.
It looked really great, and the game looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
This is Emerald, our incredible genius who our founder found on Reddit. So a little backstory, Nick had this idea and he found the most upvoted Reddit storyteller to be our lore master, like of all of Reddit, found Emerald on Reddit, and yeah.
Testing. All right. Hello, everyone. So I'm Alexandre Bourjade, co-founder and CEO of Blue Labs. How does this work? There we go. All right. Start it off. First of all, we're one tech, essentially. And from that one technology, we have two business chains coming out from them. Bloometa.com, a platform where users can trade assets as an aggregator, and Blue Protocol, the underlying tech infrastructure behind the whole project. Our Blue Protocol is a B2B service, and Bloometa.com more of the B2C. So let's do a little, ooh, we got cut. Let's do a little storyline. You're a typical user, you want to go buy an NFT from the sandbox. You find out there are tens of marketplaces across the industry. And you kind of want to find the best price, the best land, but you can't. So, how is there really a problem today? A typical game wants to create a platform where they can have their users play their game and trade their assets there. In reality, what really happens? Well, the user comes on the platform, plays the game. However, he ends up trading on multiple different places. And we know, from statistics that if a user leaves your platform, there's 70% chance that he does not come back to it. So you're losing users, basically. And that is really the pain point that we're trying to target with Blue Labs. It is user retention for the games by allowing a one-stop shop to be created from the game. And that brings us to our motto. Build an aggregated order book that enables game producers to create a one-stop shop for their gaming community. Emphasis on the gaming community. We are strictly in it for the games. So how does our product actually work? First, we start off by indexing over 400 different marketplaces. Generic ones such as OpenSea, LooksRare, X2Y2, etc. But also in-game marketplaces. You can see Dogamí is one up there. And we aggregate all of these by first getting the on-chain and off-chain data from their respective APIs or smart contracts, then aggregating onto a data lake. We chose to use Arweave. And finally, utilizing all of this into an aggregated order book SDK that a marketplace can just plug in and play in order to have 100% of their own collection on their marketplace. So, Bloometa.com, that is actually live today. You can look it up, play around with it. We're actually going to be going from Tezos to Immutable X integrating in 2 weeks. So that's going to be big news with our friends across the ages, but also other big actors there. Essentially allows, once you go on the platform, to have 100% of a collection's assets listed straight from there. You can buy from different marketplaces in one single purchase, and you can utilize the token of the game, which gives it added utility, of course. Additionally, we don't limit the liquidity for the users. It's very important because it's such a fragmented market that users always want to find where can they get the best bang from their buck. So you can sell on any marketplace that allows custodial, well, non-custodial if you want multiple ones, and only one if it's custodial. But we're driving away from the whole custodial thing. But also advanced data analytics for the users. We are, after all, a data company. We have hundreds of data endpoints coming through, and we allow the different projects that integrate us to use that. Our team, of course, 3 co-founders that we've known each other for over 10 years. Grew up together, and then 3 brilliant employees that work their hearts out to build this every day. And these are kind of our partners in the whole ecosystem. You'll find Dogamí straight up there, very proud. And Cross the Ages that are also in the room, Life Beyond, Matterlight, all of these actors that really we've grown to partner with. And I would not be here, of course, if I didn't plug a little fundraising. So we're at 60% of our fundraising, and we're trying to square that out in order to continue hiring development work and really get more people on board with this vision. Thank you. Do we have any questions?
Oh.
Ah, a brave one.
I thought everyone was thirsty. Okay.
Actually, that's related to a question I had before, whereas I was pushing on like every project, every product, game, and everything needs to have their own marketplace. And having like actually a product like yours that try to aggregate this on top of that is great. How do you do with basically custom marketplaces from each project in terms of integration to be able to have their order books and everything?
It's actually a great question. In many ways today it's a pain point, and in the future kind of an opportunity. Today we have to manually integrate each and every marketplace, right? There is not a one kind of cookie cut way to integrate them, because developers are sloppy. And so they're going to develop it and customize it however they want. And that's the brilliance of it, right? But with time, we're formatting different ways that we integrate, because we see repetitions in code and we see repetitions in the way that marketplaces are being built. So for example, Dogamí took us 3 weeks to integrate. Another marketplace with the same type of infrastructure will, thanks to our experience with them, take us 3 days, right? So it's a work that you have to do in the beginning that's more of like a grunt, but with time, with different processes put in place, we can streamline. And now the ultimate, we're going on Immutable X. That was very easy because the chain itself is an aggregated order book, right? But moving away from that, our vision in the long run is that we become the aggregated order book across the chains with Bloometa at its center. Hope that answered it, ish.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely, yeah.